Who's grammarian?
Just good afternoon, everybody, fellow Toastmasters. No honor guest today. Welcome again to a dreary week. It was really nice and cold last week, but super cold, and now it's turning warm and raining outside. But for me, who is a snowboarder, and I like this time of year to go up to the mountain. I hope that hopefully it'll get cold enough and the rain will turn into snow because that is what we need here in the Pacific Northwest.
Amen.
Everyone else in the other country, in the other side of the US is getting bombarded. So much snow. I am a little jealous, but at the same time, I feel for them when they don't really have, I don't think they have the infrastructure in place maybe to kind of to keep the roads relatively clean as we are here in the Pacific Northwest because we're kind of used to it. All right. First, before we start off a meeting, I actually wanted to start off with some jokes because I'm the joke master today. Add some levity for our meeting. Okay, here's joke number one. Imagine if Americans switch from pounds to kilogram overnight. That would be mass confusion.
Would be mass confusion.
I try to hit on that word math. Oh, it's all good. All right. Did you hear about the guy who invented the door knocker?
No.
No.
He won the Nobel Prize. All right. Should we do one more? I feel like we could do one more, maybe.
Yeah.
Hmm. So let's see here. I found one that was really good. And nah, I don't think it's that good. All right, we're just gonna end with that one. I'll move to
That's
rolls.
fine. Just throw it out there.
Just throw it out there. Okay. All right, I'll throw it out there.
Because the quality so far has
Only,
been so
yeah,
high.
only just judging that for it. At the thieves convention, there was a standing ovation for the guy who specialized in stealing boat parts. He took a bow.
Oh, nice. Nice.
You have to know about boats to understand what a bow is, I guess.
Did he give a stern look?
Oh man, I don't know. He patted someone on the head, maybe. Anywho,
The head.
he paddled his way down the river.
Yeah.
Let's move forward with our meeting. That was funny. And I'll have to call up some roles. We have some roles in our meeting today, and I like the folks who have selected to take those roles to stand up, please, and explain what those roles are, what the role does. The first role I like to introduce is our table topic master, and that is Buffy. Buffy, can you your role to us, please?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Mr. Master Toastmaster, and honored Toastmasters. And I don't have the words in front of me, so I'm just going to make it up as I go. Is it here? Table Topics Master calls upon several members to deliver 1 to 2 minute impromptu talks on a topic announced right before the member is chosen. This role is introduced by you.
Right? Awesome. Ready for table topic. Next, I'd like to introduce our evaluator, who is Justin. Justin, can you explain your role to us?
Evaluator or yeah, I'm gonna evaluate.
I'm sorry, grammarian. What am I
Grammarian,
thinking?
okay.
Yes.
What did I miss here? Yes. As a grammarian, I am going to keep track of good word usage and also any filler words such as and so. Any other words that seem like they're just filler words that don't need to be there, and I'll keep track of those and get my report at the end. And I also have a word of the day. Ooh, it is umbrage.
I take umbrage with that word.
You know what it means.
Yes.
That's a good start. It refers to a feeling of being offended by what someone has said or done. It is often used in the phrase take umbrage.
Mhm.
Some listeners took umbrage at the podcaster's remark about the event.
That's right.
There's a lot of umbrage in our country today.
People are taking
Maybe
it.
that wasn't the best word.
It's a great word.
That is a great word. That is a good word. Thank you for the word umbrage, Mr. Grammarian. Next up, our role I like to call up is our timer, and that will be Moa. As a timer, my role is to listen to a couple of parts and then time them and record them and also report out at the end of the meeting. Now I'm holding these cards because they're supposed to help my timing. A couple of timing roles I will be timing is speech. We have one speech today by Brandee, and that's going to be 5 to 7 minutes. We'll do green for 5 minutes, yellow for 6 minutes, and red for 7 minutes. To signify that Brandee should wrap up her speech and she's going to over her allotted time. The other time I will do is the evaluator for the speech, which is 2 to 3 minutes. And I will hold up the card green for 2 minutes, yellow for 2.5, and red for 3 for evaluation of the speech. And then there's table topics, which I will also time. That's 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute is green, 1.5 minutes is yellow, and 2 minutes is red. And finally, the last one is general evaluation, a general evaluator that is 2 to 3 minutes. That would be green for 2 minutes, 2.5 is yellow, and 3 minutes is red. Speaking of evaluator, that is my time role, and I will report that. And speaking of general evaluator, that is our final role I have to call up, and that is Buffy.
General evaluator. Greetings. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and hypothetical guests. We're still calling them in. They're waiting. They're just trying to figure out how to get here. The purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything. That takes place during the meeting. During the meeting, I will take notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. That's a kind of general. It didn't snow. I will evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Buffy, for explaining that role. And now we move on to our next portion of our speech, of our meeting, and that is having our speech. And to introduce our first speech, I'd like to call on Justin, please.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. I have the honor of introducing our speaker today, Brandee, that's going to tell us about quotes that inspire.
Ooh.
And I really hope nobody takes umbrage with this.
Well done.
Fellow Toastmasters, if you're like me, I love a good quote. I think a lot of people like good quotes. The reason that I think this is partially because what I've noticed a lot with emails lately, the person's name, where they work, and then at the bottom, there's a quote. Some people change their quotes up. I find that very interesting that you pick one quote to kind of represent you in all these different communications with people. That's why I think that we all feel quotes are important. So what I'd like to do today is share with you a few quotes that I found about Toastmasters. And then after I share those quotes with you, I want to share with you a couple of quotes that I've heard from my fellow Toastmasters that have really stuck with me and inspired me to keep moving the Toastmasters. So the first quote is from Ralph Smedley, and some of you might know him. He founded Toastmasters as we know it today. His quote is, "Ours is the only organization I know dedicated to the individual. We work together to bring out the best in each of us, and then we apply these skills to help others." Pretty powerful. You think about that. It's an individual growth, but we are doing it together as a team, and we're helping each other grow. The next quote is by Fred Miller, Don't know who Fred Meller is. I'll find that out later. But this is what Fred had to say. The worst speech you will ever give will be far better than the one you never give.
Oh,
I really like that one. And I've heard that idea in multiple different ways. My sister is learning language from an Alaska Native group that we're a part of called the Sugpiat people. And one thing that we hear them say all the time is the only way to speak your language wrong is to not speak it at all. And I agree. Sometimes we'll give speeches that maybe we're not proud of, but we'll grow from those speeches. And if we're not pushing ourselves to grow, then how are we going to get better? Okay. The next quote is along those lines, and it is, the goal is not to be perfect by the end. The goal is to be better tomorrow. And that is from Simon Sinek, author and marketing expert. Now, this last one I really like too. This is from Chris Matthews. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's I've seen him on TV. He hosts different news channels. It might be like on CNN or CBS or something. So his quote is, Toastmasters changed my life. They really did. Put me on the stage. I don't know what I would have done without that positive boost. That's pretty cool. That's pretty powerful. Okay. Now this next Meridian Toastmaster, you all might know by the name of Robin Lee. A quote that she said to me many years ago that just really has stayed with me is, it's about stage time. It's that simple. And it reminds me of the quote that she's using, or the title of the speech that she's going to be giving for the international. And that's throw perfection out the window. But really, it's about stage time. The more you're up here, the more you hear your voice, the more you start to believe in the fact that you are a public speaker and you can do it. For me in the beginning, when I got up here, I just felt so scared and I didn't know what my voice was. You kind of have that out of body experience where you hear yourself and you're up here, but you can't believe you're up here and you're looking at people and the room's spinning. The more you do it, the more you start to say, yeah, I can get up in front of people and I can talk. And that's me. And maybe that's not me in the quiet times. Maybe that's not me on one-on-one, but when I have to get up in front of people and perform, when I have to get information across, I can do it. And that was really important to me and is still really important to me because I am a scientist. I work for the state. When I get results, when I get data, when I find something important, I have to share it. And sometimes I have to share it to some pretty high up people in my agency. And sometimes I have to share it to a whole group of scientists. Sometimes I have to share it to maybe some faces that don't look happy to see me. So I need to be comfortable getting my information out there. So I really do believe that it is about stage time. One final quote. And some of you, I think maybe Kim might have gotten to know Michael Brulette. Okay, Justin, did you ever meet Michael?
No.
I don't think Buffy did, but you might have heard us talk about Michael. Michael was a big part of Meridian Toastmasters for many years. And when I started at Toastmasters, we were over off of Galaxy Drive at Brandee University. And he always had great things to say. He always had good advice, such a powerful speaker. And the first thing he ever said to me was, Brandee, trust the process. So simple, but so true. I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to trust this process. I'm going to go through the steps. Today, I might not be a good speaker. Tomorrow, it might be a little bit better. But as I go through the process and as I trust the process, I'm going to see improvement in my public speaking. And I did a lot. And for that, I thank Toastmasters. And hopefully I didn't, what's the word of the day? Umbrage? Nobody took any umbrage about my speech today. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to the Toastmaster.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Brandee, for your speech about quotes. Now I'd like to move on to our next agenda item, which is table topic. And for table topic, I like to call up Buffy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to invite a volunteer, willing victim, brave volunteer to speak on a random topic. Justin. All right.
Okay.
Let's see what we've got here. A good one. It's apropos of what I've been reading today. Justin, if you believe in heaven, what do you think it will be like?
That's a great question.
I'll put that in.
What do I believe it would be like? I do believe it, but that is the great mystery, right? I remember when I was a child, I watched was it the butter commercials? And the people are on the cloud and playing the harp. That doesn't look fun to me. And you'd see all these things about what it's really intriguing. And even you try and figure out in the Bible, and that there's not really clear guidance. And there's a lot of speculation into what is it going to be like. Like some places we're going to serve God. Well, that doesn't sound fun. You want to be a servant, but that doesn't really sound fun to be serving somebody. But when I really think about it, God made us each differently and special. We each have our own skills and likes and dislikes. Some people like to ski, like to be scientists. Whatever your joys are, I think those are part of our inherent nature that we're going to take to heaven. It's not going to be miserable. So it may be miserable if I have to go do something I don't like to do. That's not who I am. So whoever I am in heaven, whatever I'm assigned to, whatever I'm doing, I feel like that's probably going to be what it is, the way I'm designed to be, and I'll be happy. And some people might like playing on harp music all day. That would probably be heaven for them. But for me, not so much. That's really what I think it's going to be. Is we may be doing a task, whatever it may be, but it'll be catered around who we are as people that were made to be happy and enjoy it. It'll be fun for who we are as individual people.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else want to tackle this question?
I'll go.
Oh, the same question?
Okay, Brandee?
Yeah.
Have at it.
If you believe in heaven, what do you think it will be like? Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. This is a question I think we've all thought about. What happens to us after we die? I truly believe that there is something after death. I grew up as a Christian. I grew up believing in the Bible and the stories and thought that there was a heaven with the clouds and the harps. But as I've gotten older, I've come to think that maybe we cannot comprehend what it will be. And how does any one of us really know? Because if it isn't specifically laid out in the Bible, and no one has come back from dying to tell us what it's about, except for seeing the light and all that thing, those types of interesting things, I think that we just don't know what it's going to be. But I believe that it's going to be beautiful. And I believe that it's going to be comforting. And I believe that when we're there, a lot of things will make sense. And one thing that I will make myself believe is that I will see people again that I love, that I've lost. From loved ones that are human to loved ones that have 4 legs and have paws. Having lost a couple of dogs that meant the world to me. So though I don't know what it will be, I'm trying to not be afraid of it because I think it will be beautiful. And I think it will be something where for the first time, I will realize how we are all interconnected with the universe. I think it's going to be a good thing. So back to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Tabletops.
It's wonderful. Thank you. Kim, do you want to do this one?
Sure. Cool. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmaster. If I believe in heaven, what do you think it will be like? It happens that I do believe in heaven. There is an afterlife. There's going to be someone waiting for me. Now, what is that going to be like? You know, there's so, if you read the Bible on the section about what it looks like, it's very confusing. I get confused about it, but I'm going to try to explain what I think it would be like for me. And I think what it'd be like for me is I'm going to be in this cloud thing of some sort, right? And no, I'm visualizing this, a lot of it from movies and things, and also just what I think, what I hope that it would be. And part of that is so being cloud-like. So the fear, the idea of feeling weightlessness and floating around, and also just being joyful and happy. Whatever that item, whatever that task is that activities I'm doing, and everyone is going to be that I will see, whether it's a a pet or another human being that I've, friended here. I think everyone will be happy. And I think the idea of happy is going to be so not, it's going to be one of those feeling that I don't think can be described, but that's what my brain is processing, what it would be like to be in heaven. That's here. I don't know if that makes sense, but I haven't really, it's such a vast concept that the idea to think about what it'd be like specifically into the real world, I don't think I can comprehend that yet. But I think the idea of happy is the closest, and joyful is the closest thing I can get to. And that is what I think heaven would be like. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Time for one more?
I think we have time for quite a bit more.
Quite a bit more?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, we're only halfway through. Well, I would be delighted to share what came to me when I read this question. Years ago, I read a book called Home with God. It was written by Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote all the Conversations with God books. And in Home with God, he says he's asking God what happens after we die. And God says, well, I'm going to tell you what happens. And you're going to go, oh, yeah, I knew that. It's going to be a reminder. And that was my experience exactly when I read what God said to Neil Donald Walsh, which was when we die, well, I'll start with what we know today is that we are each of us unique individualizations of the Spirit of God. We are unique expressions of God. And that doesn't stop when we pass that threshold into the next thing. So we leave this life behind, this body behind, but we stay unique expressions of God. So whatever we think happens in heaven is what we experience in heaven. For a while, we're given value of for a while. That's what God says. So if you really think that you die and you go to heaven and there's Valhalla and you party the whole time, that's what you experience for a while. Or if you think you're going to go up there and you're going to lay in heaven, I had our housekeeper when I was a kid said, when I die, I'll lay in heaven waiting for Jesus to come. So that's what you think is going to happen. That's what you experience for a while. And then at some point, you kind of start going, I really know I'm not separate from that thing we call spirit, that thing we call God or source. I don't need to maintain this separateness anymore. And so we let go of it. And we just merge with God again. And that gives me comfort, and that feels right for me to understand. That's so because I believe that it'll be what happens for me. Because it is done unto us as we believe, and that's in the Bible. So I have that experience. I have that belief. And it does comfort me. That I'm complete. Would we like to go again with a new question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got another 5+ minutes.
All right, cool. Who would like to be the next victim, volunteer? Justin, I guess. Excellent.
I'm taking notes.
I'm not gonna do this one, but ironically, would you make any changes if you found out there's a heaven and a hell? I'm not gonna do that one. What are the most important qualities you look for in friends?
Good question. Qualities I look for in friends. Probably on my mind right now, just because of some person I'm with, but honesty, number one. Integrity. They don't necessarily have to be nice, but those are the two top things. Isn't it important to trust somebody? It doesn't matter. It just extends beyond friendship, but just people in general. We do have to trust each other. There's an element of faith. I think it's from the foundation of society. We believe in people. We believe we're going to get paid next week, even though we're working without getting paid. We do so many things in faith. And that's almost a foundation of the relationship. You know who I am, but if I'm lying to you and cheating you and deceiving you, you don't have that trust in me. And how can you have a friend that you cannot trust in that way? And there are times people break that trust. We're human. So there are times when maybe I might have lied to somebody. Just the overall foundation. Are they a trustworthy person? I think that's a very key thing, not only for friends, but just people you're doing business with, people you work for, on Toastmasters. You're putting yourself out there, so you really have to trust people. It's probably a number one thing on my mind right now. I'll take my phone.
You get it, Annie. Anyone else want to tackle this question?
I'll go.
Brandee?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Welcome.
What are the most important qualities you look for in friends? Well, I'm going to agree with Justin. I think trust is really important. I think another thing that's really important is just knowing that someone's got your back and that they love you and they care about you. And there's a couple of quotes that I think about. One is one that I've heard, it's along with my speech today. I really like quotes. Is people don't remember the things that you did, but they remember how you made them feel. Think about that a lot, because for friends and family members, we'll do things, we'll do kind things. And people might forget all those specific things, but at the end of the day, they're like, oh, I love that person because that person's thoughtful and that person's there for me when I needed them. So I think that's a really important thing. And then one of the things that I've been talking to about my daughter about, she's 12, in middle school, and kids are really trying to figure themselves out at 12 years old. And a lot of kids say a lot of mean things, and there's a lot of drama and a lot of talking behind backs. And so what I say to her is, you want to be friends with people who see your light that you shine. You're a candle, and you want them to respect that light. You don't want to be friends with people who darken that light and try to put that light out. You want people who respect you and love you for who you are. And I think those are the most important things I look for in friends, along with trust and consistency. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Kim, you want to tackle this one?
Again, Madam Table Topics Master. What is the most important qualities I look for a friend? There's so many. And I know Justin mentioned about this trust, love. I think on the line, of what Brandee was talking about, someone that's there for you, is a key one for me. And I think it's a big scope when you say someone's there for you, right? Because that's a lot of characteristic that of just being there, I guess. And the word I was thinking when she said that was actually just showing up. That's and the reason it's showing up, it's because that's there's some reliable trust in their reliability, and I think that's how you keep a friendship strong. If you're in a difficult situation and you're doing something, or you have a meeting, there's a need, you just want to meet your friends, and they don't show up, and they're not being there for you. I think that is a sign that just a lose of trust, or they don't love you anymore. I know it could be that they are busy as well, but if that becomes a consistent thing, then I think that's hard to keep that friendship. So the most important qualities for me is that, because there's so many times when I try to plan for things, or I try to build that relationship and keep it stronger, that requires planning and meeting up. And if you're just the only one that's meeting up and the other person doesn't show up, then really there's no friendship to be had. So that to me is the most important qualities. Back to you, back to the topic.
Thank you. I have to look this up because I want to make sure I get this right.
Just looking at that, Brandee, I thought I'm gonna take some of your key thing about your, because Grace is like the same age, right? She's going through that, and I'm not the best. I'm not the best at explaining how I feel about what I just said about showing it up, like the friend thing, but I didn't even see the other side about the light, right? Because you want them to make really good friends, but what you think is good friends for them might not, or convey that information might not be what they're thinking at the time at that age. Because I was just like,
Yeah.
because anyway, I won't share this because it's recording, but I'll share with you afterward what I said one time. And I don't want to take away from this our meeting either. So I'll share with you after our meeting's over.
Sounds good.
That's a great conversation. What I believe is really helpful for me is to I have 4 values, the 4 agreements, if you're familiar with Don Miguel Ruiz. The 4 agreements: being impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And I find that my relationship with my friends, those are 4 pivotal values. Being impeccable with your word means when somebody says they're going to come, they come, or they call and say they can't come. They follow through with their word. Don't take anything personally. So this is the boundaries thing where we want to teach our kids to recognize that this is my stuff in here, and anything else I don't have control over what's out here. So what I say and what I do, people are going to be people about it. People are people-y. Let's see, don't make assumptions, and that's a huge thing. I have to have an agreement with my friends that we ask questions. We don't assume we understand what they meant by a certain thing. So we are curious, and we keep that curiosity going in our relationship. And we recognize that at any given point, Miguel always says, always do your best, but I believe we always do our best. It may not look like best 3 minutes later, but in that moment, that's the best I could do. And if we can teach our children that, it's a value that I hold, that I relax and allow that somebody may not have done the best thing to me, it wasn't the very best they could do, but right then that was what they could do. So I have the boundary thing is really important to me, and that's a value I hold. And people who can live with my boundaries, I value them, and I can value them for their boundaries. Not everybody can do that. They keep wanting to jump over your boundaries or want you to come out and be in their stuff. And that's harder to be friends with. So with that, I have my lesson for today. Thank you very much. All right. I think that's what we've got.
Whoop whoop.
Thank you for your contributions today. Can't just stand up there. I gotta give a sermon.
Oh,
That's
thank
you.
you. Thank you,
That's-
Buffy, for a couple of really great table topics and very topics that make you think,
Mhm.
you know, and if any of these topics are of interest to you and you want to do research on it, do it and bring it up as a speech. Make it a 5 to 7 minute speech.
Oh,
There you go.
that means 15, right?
Split it up. Part
I'm a minister.
2 and part 3.
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward. And I like to call on Justin to evaluate us Brandee's speech.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. All right, I am here to evaluate Brandy's speech. For 2 to 3 minutes. Great speech.
Really slowly.
Let's see. Let's do the good, better, best stuff that I think is what we commonly say. I'm gonna give you the bad news first and I'll go to the good news.
All right, let's do it.
So the worst thing I could find, you did a great job, by the way. So I'm just kind of picking apart your stuff. So work on memorizing some more of your quotes. Just if you're just reading from them right here. And I get it's challenging. I have a poor memory for that. That would be a little helpful. And at the end, you tried to incorporate the word of the day and you did an and reached out.
Yeah, yeah.
Good job trying for the word of the day. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. It means a lot. Yeah. Better. You had a point when you said okay and then paused. And then you said, I've seen him on TV.
Mm.
There was one point where you mentioned the person, Michael, you said he always had great advice, but you were shaking your head. Like,
Ooh.
Ooh.
so
maybe he
instead of
didn't.
affirming it,
Mhm.
so it was a little incongruous.
Okay.
Nice catch.
Yeah.
Nice
So those
catch.
were the things I noticed that maybe we want to work on.
Yeah.
But it was a great speech. You incorporated word of the day at the end. I noticed you had some really good hand signals when you came up. You're moving your hands, the gestures matched what you were saying. That's really good eye contact. It's going around the room pretty well with everybody. Your speech was very good in that you gave good background and information on the quote. You didn't just come up and give a bunch of quotes with no background or context. Nice
Mhm.
job on that. Felt really informed about where the quote came from. You took the time to pause and explain the quote. I noticed you look at the audience and smile and give some affirmation to emphasize the quote. Very nice job. Something also that was nice is you actually gave a quote from a member, somebody we know. So that it's more impactful,
Mhm.
more relatable. So that was a really nice touch to the speech. It wasn't just some distant people that wrote books 20 years ago, who knows, 100 years ago. So that was, I don't know how long ago these speeches with the quotes are written. And I also noticed you did a really good job of expressing the feeling in your voice, especially when you were scared when you came up here initially, you were
Mhm.
scared to speak. So you did a really good job of expressing those feelings in your voice. It's a very nice speech. Very well set the theme for today of inspirational things of what heaven is like and what you find in a friend. So it seems like you just set the tone for the rest of the meeting. So nice job, very good speech, and I look forward to more speeches from you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Justin, for evaluating Brandy's speech. And next, I think I'm going to call upon our general evaluator to wrap us up.
Wrap us up.
Buffy,
Wrapping
up.
paper and everything.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I want to say that I was reading the instructions on how to evaluate the meeting. I'm like, it's all in here, but I caught this. Look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. Wow. That's pretty simple and big at the same time.
Mm.
I feel This is a wonderful team of people. We co-create this space efficiently. We are ready to go. I've not experienced us ready to go later than this, except for a couple times when we had some tech problems. Today was very smooth. We were ready to go right at 12:05, even as Brandee breezed in. Our Toastmaster was ready to go and prepared with all the work, all the what's the word? Roles. Complicated word. Our secretary had printed plenty of certain documents, and we'll be printing more documents that we have run out of. But that continues to be a miracle of performance, and I'm always impressed that it happens. I'm grateful. Let's see, observation. I just see this as a very joyful community of people who love and care for and forgive each other for oopses and support each other in growing and being more effective as speakers in the performance of all the duties that we do. Let's see, do I have anything else? Oh, that's all I have. I think I have to do. Do we have an agrammarian? Agrammarian?
Yeah,
That's
next
you.
week, I call up the roll.
I call
Yeah.
up the rolls. So shall I call up the rolls in any particular order?
I usually go off the order given there. I don't know that it matters, but
Okay,
I usually follow like it says there, timer, agrammarian.
okay.
Yeah.
So Kim, would you come up and give us a report on timing?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Here is the report for our timing. I'll start off with Brandee. Your speech is 6 minutes and 33 seconds. Table topic is 158 and 144. Justin, your evaluation was 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And your table topics were 1 minute and 40 seconds and 1 minute and 19 seconds. Buffy, your general evaluation time is 1 minute and 49 seconds. Your table topics were 153 and 201. And for myself, my table topics were 2 minutes and 10 seconds and 1 minute and 50 seconds. That's my report. Back to you.
Thank you. Next, we have grammarian. Justin? Is grammarian also agrammarian?
Yes, we
Okay.
combine them here.
It's all the us.
On the Toastmaster, you can do grammarian and counter.
You can separate them or have them together, yeah.
Because you need more jobs for more people.
Yeah.
Probably.
Which in a big group, like I mentioned, smaller group, it helps us, to me, helps me get up and do more things that I probably wouldn't volunteer for.
Right.
Because somebody else can do that. So. All right, well, I'm gonna start out with our Toastmaster, Kim. Kim, you had 3 3 you knows. I noticed you did some repeats, specifically the and. Some good word usage, not equipped, what I hoped, vast concept, key one for me, and consistent theme. Buffy did a great job. I have noticed some notable improvements on your not as many filler words. So nice job. I was noticing that today. But there were a few double he, couple spots, kinda, 1, 2 ums, 2 us. And then at one point you changed that I get to I have. Just a brief intro real quick. Nothing notable to the average person, but as you're advancing, just paying closer attention. Still mindful. Some good word usage, hypothetical guess, unique individualization, merge. Does anyone want a victim or volunteer to be a victim? That was pretty good. Tackle this question, impeccable with your word, pivotal values, miracle of performance, and joyful community. And Brandee, I didn't do as much because I was doing the evaluation. So anyway, you had 1 word of the day, the only word of the day. Some good word usage, loved ones, 4 legs and paws. That was good. Got your back. And at the end of the day. I didn't notice any filler words to write down, so nice job.
Right.
That is my report. Thank you.
I turn this back over to Toastmaster or no?
You transition to president, and if the president is here, it would be to our VP of
VPE.
education.
You're back. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, Peyton. I have nothing to look at. Well, this is a great meeting. Thanks everybody for being here. And like I just mentioned, it's great that there's 4 of us and we filled all the roles,
Mhm.
plenty of things to do. And like I mentioned, it really has helped me over the time I've been here. Sometimes in a smaller group, you have to take on more. It really challenges me not to focus on one thing. It is hard to focus on multiple things. As I mentioned, I evaluated Brandee.
Mhm.
And then my grammarian portion suffered because I wasn't really focusing on
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, we're forgiving, we're joyful, we're not really focusing on criticizing each other or anything like that, but just doing the best we can.
Mhm.
Good theme of the day. We're doing the best we can at the moment,
Mhm.
and that is definitely can be helpful in a smaller group. I went to a larger group before a couple times, and then it's just different, right? You don't always get those roles to be able to fill. You're,
Mhm.
you're just a member, you're watching, and you almost have to fight for those roles. And if you're
Mhm.
not super assertive, you may not do that.
Right.
So this is great. I appreciate everybody stepping up. And I don't have any, you have from February 21st, do you get any messages to help you out to go to the speech contest or?
Bless you. I did not.
Okay,
No pressure.
no pressure.
If
I-
anybody wants to carpool
I
with
can't,
me.
I'm busy that day.
Okay.
Yep, I will be wishing you well.
Snowboard trip.
I'll be in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, that is all I have with that. I'll close out the meeting.
Okay.
Or unless you want to fill out roles. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Want to do roles? Let me grab my sheet if we want to.
Now let's do them.
February already.
So